So to get started, let's say we wanted to edit one of these columns because we accidentally chose the wrong section size or something about that column member was wrong. So there's a couple different ways we could edit a column. What we could do, if we zoom in on the column here, you can see that if I hover over that member, it highlights in a green color. Well, when it is highlighted, I could double click on that member itself and we will enter into the column edit window. I could also just left click until it's highlighted here, or I could window around the column itself. And once it's highlighted, I could right click. And in my right click menu, at the very top, we have an edit button. So if I choose the edit button, it'll bring us to that same screen. Or another way we could do this, if I zoom out here, if we knew the piece mark or the member number of what we wanted to be editing, we could come over here to the model tree on our right side and we could expand our columns. And let's say it was member C1 piece mark that we wanted to edit, so I could expand our C1 piece mark. And then if it was member number 3, we could highlight this member number 3 and we could either double click here on this line or we could right click and say edit, and it'll bring us to that column edit window as well. Now, one thing with the model tree is if it's highlighted in the model tree, it will be highlighted in the model space as well, or vice versa. If I highlight this column here, it's going to highlight in our model tree as well. Now, being that these are all in stick form right now, it's a little bit hard to see if I'm zoomed out far enough. It's kind of hard to see which member is highlighted right now. And one thing that we can do to kind of help us out there is to turn all those members to solids. So we could do that in a couple different ways. If we go to our display page, within our members section, we have a couple buttons here. This would turn all to solid opaque, or that would be SA on your keyboard for the shortcut. If we drop this drawer down, we have a couple different options here. Change all to solid transparent main, or change all to solid transparent. What I'll do is I'll just hit SA on my keyboard, and we can see all of those columns turn to solids. So now one thing I will point out when you're clicking on solids is if I would zoom in here to this first column that we put in, if I just double click on this, for example, like this plate, this yellow material, this edit screen is going to look a little bit different because this is the connection component window, and technically we'd be editing the user column base cat plate. So you want to be a little bit careful about what you're selecting when you're clicking on solids. Now, if we wanted to get to the column, we could do this from this screen. We could come down here to edit member, and because that basic cat plate is a part of that column, it's going to open up the edits window for this column member. So now that we have this edit screen open, this is where you would go to change any information about this column. So at the very top here, we have our general settings. In the general settings, you could choose your section size, you could change your steel grade, change what sequence this column is a part of, what your erection pinhole is set to. If you wanted to change your column rotation, you could change that here. Based off your material for your member, if you could specify a toe direction or a long leg, or if it was double material. If this is a sloped column, if it's galvanized, or if it's broke apart. And then down below here, we have various settings for our bottom end settings and our top end settings.